Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And I see we have four. Well, Matt Vallecilla is on the attendee list. I can't, for some reason, promote him to panelist. And we do have three others on the call. I'm assuming constituents. So let's get started here. The time is 6:33. And I'm going to go ahead and do roll, get that out of the way. So I will start with Karen Waters.
Here.
Thank you. Brian Allen.
I think I'm here.
Okay. Alfredo Castillo. Okay, he is absent. Chris Coyle.
I'm here choking, but I'm fine.
Thank you, sir. Oops. Don't choke. We need you. Graham Zach.
Yes, here. How you doing?
Thank you, sir. Good, good. Sid Gold. Nice.
Present.
Thank you. Michael Greenwald.
I'm here.
Excellent. Thomas Hartfeld.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Raheem Kazi.
I'm here.
Thank you, sir. Ralph Croy. He doesn't appear to be. Let me see if he's on the attendees. Oh, Alfredo's on the attendees, so I'm going to note that he joined at 6:34. Okay, now panelist. Okay, Nathan Lee.
I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Welcome. Alfredo Castillo. Unmute yourself.
Here, sir.
Thank you. So I will note 6:34 arrival. Jason Lester. Do not. Oh, he's on the attendees. Let's move him over. Citlali Manzo. I don't see her. Robert Moore.
Presently present.
All right. Thank you, sir. Jason Lester. Present. Unmute yourself.
I said I've been here since the last meeting. I never left.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Let me know how you did that, because I thought Zoom would just,
That's
once
very
I say
interesting.
leak. Well, hopefully we'll make this one shorter. Okay. Thank you, Jason. Alvin Waters.
Here.
Thank you, sir. And myself. Okay. So we do have quorum. And so I have on record then at the moment as absent Ralph, Citlali, and Danitza. Okay. All righty. Well, welcome again, everybody. Let's see. The next thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's see. Who do we have here? We have Miguel,
You have
Mr. Morales, present. Would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Definitely.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay. Mr. Morales is from Luz Rivas' office, right? Or did
Correct. Yes, from the Office of Assembly with Luz Rivas, and I would like to start. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And with that, I will let you, Mr. Morales, give us an update if you'd like. You shall be the first of our government officials.
Thank you. Good evening, stakeholders. I would like to start off with my updates, starting with Caltrans in regards to the area of Granada Hills. We had a constituent from the area of Granada Hills who was very concerned of the 405 southbound San Fernando Mission Boulevard off-ramp. This area was a chronic encampment, and we, this was an area that we have been speaking with Caltrans for a while, trying to coordinate due to some limitations. there was a lot of barriers that we needed to, hurdle over. And I'm happy to announce that this location has been addressed as a relocation to begin with. During the weekend, during Halloween weekend, LASA was able to provide services to the individuals in these encampments. And starting as of yesterday, this area has been cleaned up. All the trash and debris has been removed from the San Fernando Mission Boulevard off-ramp. And we will be keeping up with Caltrans to see what is the next step so that there isn't any fallback or any, make this encampment chronic once again. I also want to note that it's important to, when we're addressing these issues to our office, please give us a call. Make sure to provide all the details so that we could, relay that message back to Caltrans so that there is a clear understanding of what is occurring, not just an encampment. If there's any harm that could be done to the individuals living around this encampment, please let us know of this so that everything is clear and transparent with Caltrans. In addition, the Assemblywoman has been in our district. She did take part of our annual Placerita Canyon hike. And in this hike, she was able to address the stakeholders that were able to attend of her successful legislation run, as I've already mentioned in previous meetings here. 11 of her bills have been passed by the governor. So that is impressive. All of her bills that she sent over to the governor's office were signed. And, this was one of the most successful runs of the Assemblywoman Luz Rivas had. So she wanted to make note and highlight that to the people going to the hike. Also in transition, she was able to attend this past Sunday during Halloween, during our trunk or treat event. This was in San Fernando. There was huge turnout, a lot of kids. We're thinking about 1,500 to 2,000 people attended this event. It was impressive. We thought we were going based off numbers of previous trunk or treats. Before we would take 200 bags and that was enough. This year we wanted to take a little bit more just in case, and we ran out of candy bags within the first hour. It was very impressive, very, very nice to give back to the community. The Assemblywoman will be in our district currently, and once I get more information of any event, I'll make sure to provide that information to the stakeholders. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir. And so let's see, I have some hands up raised. I'm going to go in order in which they were raised. So Alvin, you had your hand up first. You've got the floor.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Miguel. I just wanted to ask, following up on your first update regarding the encampment by San Fernando and near Haskell, are there plans for Caltrans to put up fencing to potentially discourage encampments from, further being built in that area?
Correct. I understand. Yes, I understand your concern. That's something that we already started talking with Caltrans in regards to this encampment. We understand it's been a chronic encampment that has escalated throughout the months, and we have been in conversations to see what is the next step. So right now we are trying to give ideas to Caltrans, such as fencing or signage. We just want to have a clear understanding of what could be enforced in this location, just because our office has limitations. So we want to be clear with Caltrans about the situation here at hand, letting them know if signage is probably a good option or fencing, and whether they can be enforced.
Well, just one thing to keep in mind too, just, before other constituents get answered, is one thing that I've been seeing in other areas, and I'm sure you've been hearing about on the radio, is you have that incidence of homeless people walking on the freeway, which is an extremely dangerous thing for both, the homeless person and as well as for the drivers. So that's just kind of the reason, at least in my opinion, I think posing the fencing would be probably the most effective thing to propose.
Correct. Thank you. I made note of your inquiry, and I'll make sure to speak with Caltrans to see if there's any ideas that they could provide us with, and also mention yours. Thank you, Mr. Waters.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alvin. Sid, you had your hand up next.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Miguel. A couple questions. How does the Assemblywoman feel about the petition to overturn Senate Bill 9 that's being circulated? Is she going to support overturning that Senate bill or not? The second question I have is what's her view on the map restructure for the Assembly? Does she feel it's an appropriate redrawing of her district or not? And the third question is, how does one get to have a one-to-one conversation with the Assemblywoman? There's other issues I'd like to discuss with her.
Mr. Sid Gold, I just want to start off with petition Senate Bill 9 and the redistricting. At the moment, there isn't really a clear statement from the Assemblywoman, but what I could do is I could follow up back with you in regards to these two issues. And also for having a one-on-one conversation, there is a process that we have that is outlined in our site. You would have to request a meeting, and our scheduler from the Capitol office will be able to contact you in regards to that inquiry. I would be happy to assist you in filing a scheduling meeting with the Assemblywoman.
So what's your phone number?
My phone, oh yes. So what I could do is I could email my personal phone number to Oscar Jimenez,
Okay.
the president, and then he
Do
can
that
share
and
that
then
with you.
Okay, so as long as you've okayed it, I'm more than happy to. Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much.
That would be
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sid. Karen.
Hello, Miguel. Thank you for being here today, or this evening, I should say. I was wondering about community engagement and connection with the community. The Granada Hills Street Fair is a major event in our community, obviously shut down last year because of COVID, but it was well attended. I mean, and Supervisor Barger and Councilmember Lee had their booths there, and it seems as if Ms. Rivas didn't know the event was happening or didn't want to attend. So could you please elaborate on that for us?
Definitely. No, thank you for flagging this item to us. It's a great concern as well, community engagement. So I just want to start off by saying, unfortunately, due to the scheduling, there was already a commitment that was scheduled for months prior, and it was with the Sierra Club. Unfortunately, it landed on the same day as the parade. We do apologize. And I do have note here off the agenda that December 5th, there is going to be another event. I'll make sure to flag that one on time so that, the staff could be aware.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Mr. Michael Greenwald, your turn. You've got the floor.
Hey, Miguel, we've asked the Assemblywoman twice, and she said she was going to follow up on it. I doubt she will, but to propose that any proposition that has signature gathering and is approved will be named by the group that circulated the petitions and got it on the ballot, so that it cannot be reworded by government. So in other words, when the proposition comes through, it already has the name, like recall the gas tax or something like that. All right, has she made any progress on that? Or is she going to?
So what I could do is I could follow up with this item as well, Mr. Greenwald, and get back to you. I'll make sure to submit an inquiry as well to the Assemblywoman, so she's taking note of, your inquiry. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just following up with that, Michael, I agree with you. And I think the person at the state level who has the ability to do that, to rename a ballot measure, is the Attorney General. And a good example of that was when Mr. Javier Becerra was the Attorney General, and he actually renamed one of the measures to make it more appealing to the constituency. And that was a measure for the repealing of the gas tax. I don't know if you recall that one.
Wait.
So
they renamed the gas tax,
yes,
public safety.
Correct.
And made it all about the fact that if you don't if you repeal the gas tax, we're going to lose paramedics. The freeways are going to fall down. Okay, that should have just been named repeal the gas tax.
Right,
Now,
and that goes to your point. So
yeah,
I think
I'm
here,
sorry.
so here I think what maybe is stripping that power away from the Attorney General, and and that's probably what we would like Luz Rivas to kind of take action on.
Yeah, the proponents of the proposition should be the ones that name what it's going to go on the ballot as. Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah, no, I was very much, what's the word? Very upset at that when they renamed it, basically. So, all right. I don't see any other hands. And Mr. Morales, so I too, I would like some time with Ms. Rivas, because I have something that I think I'd like to propose for her as far as maybe legislation that is a consumer protection type thing, based on a recent experience I've had purchasing an airline ticket and purchasing the insurance. So not a good experience, and I think the consumers deserve better. So, but yeah, if you can, let me know when there's an opportunity to meet with her. So.
Got it. Thank you so much. And also, I also wanted to ask a quick question to the board if I have the time.
Sure.
It's just a simple question. Due to me being new to this role and having these, neighborhood council meetings, attending these neighborhood council meetings, I would just wanted to ask briefly: will you be holding these meetings in the month of December? Just because I know certain neighborhood councils won't be, facilitating meetings during that time.
No, we still plan on having ours, the December meeting. Yeah, we don't cancel our meetings unless there's an extreme emergency or for whatever reason, but we will have our December meeting as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
Great question. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. So I will move on to, we have Matthew Viacia from John Lee's office. Matthew, please unmute yourself. I can't promote you to panels for some reason, so I apologize for that.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're all well. Thanks so much for giving me some time tonight and during your meeting. I just hope all you guys are well, and thank you guys for being such an awesome neighborhood council. I love that I have you guys. So I just wanted to say that and put that out there to start off with. So I wanted to get in first off to the legislative updates that we have. Excuse me, coming down from a cold, so I'm still a little bit congested. So if I sound funny, don't make fun of me too much. So returning public spaces to public use. This week in council, Councilman Lee introduced the first set of resolutions designating specified areas for enforcement against sitting, lying, sleeping, or storing, using, maintaining, or placing personal property or otherwise obstructing the public right of way. These locations included Pettit Park, Rinaldi Park, Shadow Ranch Park, Northridge Park, Dearborn Street Park, Chatsworth Library, and Dearborn Street Elementary School. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority outreach teams will begin or continue outreach to the unhoused residents in those areas, offering assistance and connection to services. Councilman Lee fully supports the use of enforcement components of the city ordinance as a tool to ensure the safety, accessibility, and availability of our streets and our public spaces for all residents. But we must also develop a robust prevention strategy that addresses some of the root causes of homelessness, including the mental illness and substance abuse aspects. So that was one of the motions that was recently introduced by the councilman to address those issues. I also want to mention that the councilman introduced a resolution in support of HR 1978, the Protecting Seniors Through Immunization Act of 2021. This bill was introduced by Congresswoman Ann Custer of New Hampshire and would reduce financial barriers for seniors by ensuring that vaccines recommended by the CDC are either completely covered or any out-of-pocket expenses are significantly reduced for those vaccines. So also want to mention, as many of you are aware, the city of Los Angeles, beginning November 8th, 2021, the city of LA will require proof of vaccination to enter certain indoor places, including establishments where food and beverages are served, gyms and fitness venues, entertainment and recreation venues, personal care establishments, and City of Los Angeles facilities. Councilmember Lee was not in favor of this mandate. However, this has now become the rule, and we will all have to present those documents. I also wanted to mention, in terms of community, we participated and helped sponsor the Granada Hills Street Fair. We were always happy to be a part of that, and Councilman Lee was present there to greet all the folks who want to come by to our booth. And you know, we're just really happy that you know, it was such a success, and that the Chamber and Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council and just so many community members were present there, and just making it the success that it was. So thank you all who were there to assist with it and make it all possible, and to bring that back to the community after COVID. It was a huge success. Also want to mention that CD12, our movie night, is back, and you can join us for The Wizard of Oz on November 6th at Shadow Ranch Park, and that's in West Hills. So space is limited, and free meals would be provided from Wendy's for confirmed attendees, courtesy of Ron Ross, the Wendy's of Woodland Hills. So to reserve your space, just contact our office. You can email us at councilmember.lee@lacity.org, or you can call our office at 818-882-1212. And the gates open at 4:30, and the movie will begin at sunset. So just want to throw those things out there. Again, I just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to relay that information to you guys, and to inform the stakeholders of the Granada Hills North area. And be happy to take a couple questions if some of the board members or the public have any concerns, or something they want me to relay to the councilman on their behalf.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, I've got a few hands, and I'm going to call them in order in which they were raised. I will start with Mr. Gold, Sid Gold.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions.
How are you?
Good. I'm just trying to understand, you know, they want to foist a code of conduct on the neighborhood councils. And help me understand the code of conduct of our city council. We have one indicted, one suspended, and one in jail. Is the city council attempting to look at their ethical behavior and drafting some sort of legislation appropriate for the behavior of the city council? And the mayor's assistant, who was suspended, is now back in her job, you know, for comments she made. It seems okay for people elected or work for the mayor. It's okay for them to have no code of conduct, but yet we have this sort of office saying neighborhood councils don't act appropriately and they need a code of conduct. So I'm asking, what is the city council and your councilman, are they considering any legislation about appropriate code of conduct and ethical behavior at City Hall?
You know what, that's a valid concern that you have, and point well taken. I can tell you that off the top of my head, I don't know, as I'm not on the legislative side for the office, but if you contact our office, if you email
okay, you're
us,
leaving it to me.
Sure.
You know, I have to do, I'm an elect, I work full time. I can't imagine why you're not reaching out to me to say, this is what we're doing. Why I have to contact your office. I'm working full time. You're working full time for the councilman. I think you should devote some time to outreach to me and tell me what you're doing. You know what my concerns are. I think I'm speaking for a lot of people in neighborhood councils about behavior at City Hall. And I want to see what the councilman is doing and this council is doing about their behavior.
Sure, we'd be happy to communicate that to you. I would need to, discuss that with or connect you with our legislative team, and they can update you or take any concerns that you have.
Are they going to contact me, or am I going to have to now pursue them as well?
I can have them contact you. What's the best way to reach you?
I'm through the neighborhood, Granada Hills, my email's there. I can give you my personal phone number. I don't care. I think I want to hear something from our councilman about their cleaning up their behavior.
Sure, I will take the initiative to make sure that someone gives you a call, but what's the number they can call you at?
818-360-1290.
You got it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. The next one is Alvin.
I'm gonna have to pass.
You're passing, okay. And let's see, so Brian, you are next.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for attending. And I don't actually have a
Hey, Brian, how are
question. I would like to pass on my personal appreciation. I'm not speaking as a board member now. To John Lee and his attitude and his stand on the legislation that you were mentioning earlier. I do appreciate his position, and I would like to pass along my appreciation to him.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. I'll make sure he gets that message.
Thank you, sir. Now I have, is it Maria or Richard?
That'll be Richard first.
Okay.
Well,
You have the
Richard.
floor. You have the
Richard,
floor.
Yeah. Matt, do you know what happened today in City Council about the redistricting?
You know what? I haven't received the update on that yet, but I'm sure that we'll be getting a lot of calls about it tomorrow morning.
It'll probably be in the news tomorrow too. So, thank you.
Okay, so now do we have Maria, Miss Fisk?
Yeah, no, that was just me, this one.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Richard. Let's see, Alvin, did you raise your hand again?
Yeah, it came back to me. So
Okay.
I had a question for Matt regarding the update on the COVID safety protocols is one. Just need to reconfirm when that's supposed to take place. Two, there was a part, I guess, that it applies to city offices. What I'm wondering is, does that mean that the city offices, including places like building and safety, are gonna relax their COVID safety protocols, or are their COVID safety protocols gonna still be enforced?
As far as I'm aware, the same protocols, that basically come down from the health department are the protocols that the city usually follows. I don't know for every specific one, but generally speaking, that's how the city's been operating. In terms of when this starts, the city of LA, ours begins November 8th. So next Monday, it's going to require proof of vaccination when you enter those, specific types of indoor places. So again, it's like where food and beverages are served, gyms, fitness venues, entertainment, recreation venues, personal care establishments, and city facilities. If you need like more details on, or you have, more detailed questions on it, we're happy to, answer those. I just wouldn't have those answers at my fingertips at the moment, but we can certainly, try to get any specific questions on that answered if you need, further detail.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you, Alvin. Karen.
Hi, Matt.
Hi,
Good to see
Karen.
you back. Good to see you back.
Thank you. You
my
too.
my question is about the homeless encampment cleanup pertaining specifically to Pettit Park and the library. Do you have any idea when that will actually take place? The question actually is coming from the Granada Hills Parade Committee because the parents have great concerns for the children performing in the parade.
Sure. It's my understanding that we've been doing cleanups at that location. It's just that now we have more extensive cleanups that are taking place, and there is a significant backlog of requests that have, that we're trying to help to assist and get through, because we didn't have those types of cleanups going on all throughout COVID. And, we know that there are certain hotspots in the district that, really need attention. And we know that that's one of them. So it's my understanding that there are cleanups taking place. It's just on a sort of rotation basis. And so I can't give you a specific date as to when the next time I know, or the follow-up after that. Colin Cruz could probably get you something on that, or give you a better idea of when to expect it. And I'll have him reach out to you directly, Karen.
Okay, yeah, I know him. Thank you, Matt.
You got it.
Thank you. Brian?
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Karen's position there, Matt. The reason that that's important is because that is the starting place for the parade. And by December, that has to be cleaned up, or there is going to be potential hazards in play. So I think somebody has to make the case that that is a priority and not just a rotation. That has to be done by December.
Understood. I'll make sure Colin gets in touch with you guys on that. You want me to have him call you, Karen, or?
Yes, please. Thank you, Matt.
Okay. You got it. Okay.
Okay, and we have on the call, is it Mr. John or or Michelle? John or Michelle Hales? You have the floor. Unmute yourself. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this will be John.
Welcome, John.
Just a quick question. I just heard, Matt, I was looking at some emails. I have an invite to a Zoom meeting tonight, but the banner has changed. It used to be Save Balboa, Devonshire. It now says Save CD12. They've changed their banner. So is there an interaction and a working relationship with you folks to work on that?
With them.
I honestly never seen that banner before, so I don't really know what that banner is.
Well, it'd be that Save Balboa, Devonshire has changed over. You may want to have somebody check that out because they're using CD12. Possibly Colin Cruz might know something, but anyways, I was just curious to see if.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about a banner, but if you have pictures or something, or you want to send them to me, I can, make sure.
The website. They've changed it from Save Balboa, Devonshire. It now says Save CD12. The banner on the website. I'm sorry, I was saying banner. I meant the website. The meeting states that. Okay, well.
Well, Colin, Colin works on all the homeless issues in our office, and so he would probably be aware of it and would answer that question. Do you have a phone number where I can have him reach you?
He has.
Or do you have his email? Does he have your email address? If you don't want to give that out.
He does. They all have it. So I appreciate it. Thank you. I thought maybe you guys all knew about it. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm sorry that I don't know some of the answers when these questions come up. The way we divide the responsibilities in the office is by departments, and so I handle a lot of public works stuff relating to street resurfacing, street lighting, sidewalk issues, trees, those sorts of things. And then Colin handles homeless issues, and he's also the district director. And then Matt Hernandez is our public safety deputy. There's another person, Sharon, who works with animal services. So we divide things by departments, and we tend to be very busy with those requests. And so sometimes when you have a question about a department that falls under a different deputy, I won't have the anscer for you, and I don't want to try to sit here and make something up for you. So that's why I say I'll make sure someone gets to you, or to contact a certain person in the office, because they'll more than happy try to answer the questions for you or get you an answer.
I just thought with a major change like that, everybody, all 17 of you would know about it. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, John. I have Michael Greenwald.
Hey, Matt, are they ever going to get DOT to put the sign, no left turn, that they incorrectly placed at Midwood and Balboa, relocated to Cessna and Balboa? I mean, this has been going on for over a year and a half.
Right. I know that Eric Moody was working on that. He's actually just left working for our office. He no longer works for the office. And so we are in process of getting, getting another person to fill that position and be our, handle our transportation stuff. So we're working on that, but we are still, handling a lot of the things that that Eric was working on. So we'll have to follow up with you on that. But I'm assuming that that's something that could, that we could help to expedite or correct if there's an issue with it.
Well, you haven't been able to for like a year and a half. And I mean, they made a mistake and they won't rectify it. So
were you talking with Eric about it? Did he give you any reason or discuss with you why they said they couldn't do it or what's holding it up?
John and I have tried and they just won't, they won't listen to us. So whoever comes in,
talking about DOT?
Ask him to take it under his wing, okay? Or her wing. All right.
Sure thing, Mike.
Thank you, Michael. Chris. You've got
Yeah,
the
I
floor.
have a general comment here over the last couple speakers. I run one of the most despised facilities in the North Valley. My cell phone number is 480-369-0024. You can get a hold of me anytime. So for people not wanting to give out their cell phone who are staff of elected, I don't know, that seems to bother me a little bit. That's the end of my statement. Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you, sir. Okay, and I don't see anyone else. Matthew, for me, just if you could bring to the attention, I guess it would be Matt, maybe Matt Hernandez, that on Rinaldi, we had passed, this board had approved for signage to be put on Rinaldi from Balboa all the way to pretty much Sepulveda, prohibiting parking of the larger vehicles, RVs, etc. It hasn't happened. Not sure if there's something holding it up, but there's an issue now on Rinaldi. It's on the corner, I believe it's Gothic and Rinaldi. There's some RVs on the the south side. One of them in particular seems to be on the curb. The tires, or lack thereof, I should say, it seems to be leaning on the curb. And that to me is an issue. And also there's trash collected that now is kind of seeping into the sidewalk area. So if you can have someone look into that, that would be great.
Oscar?
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
If I may, just excuse me a moment. I wanted to elaborate. I copied you on an email, you and actually Mike Greenwald, that it is Councilmember Bonin who is holding this up. Councilmember Bonin has completely. That's why
Yeah,
he's
I did see that. And so that's a good point, Karen. Thank you for bringing that up. So, I mean, the question does become, we as a board, I mean, we passed to put these signs on there. I'm not sure why, and I guess he's at an elevated position, but why would somebody circumvent the needs of our community? And since we're the ones that passed it, how can somebody else just kind of say kibosh it? And, don't know. I mean, it doesn't look good for the community. It doesn't bode well for groups like ours, that are here to support our constituents and try to make our community better. I don't know what his reasoning is, but I think somebody needs to put some pressure on him and let him know that from my perspective, it's just not right. But thank you for reminding me, Jerry. That's a good point.
And thank you, Karen, for bringing that up. That was going to be my response, but Karen, you're always on the ball. So if you guys have any questions, just ask Karen, because she knows it all. She is on the ball and everything. But no, I just want to say yes. That is something that's being held up in the Transportation Committee, because Councilmember Bonin is the head of the Transportation Committee, and he has the ability to hold things up that go through his committee, and he's chosen to do that. So I don't understand the reasoning either. I think it has maybe something to do with his philosophy on how this homeless situation is being dealt with in the city, and we have different views on it. But in any case, that's what's happened. And so right now, all the signage requests that we have to limit parking in certain areas for overnight dwelling in RVs, those are being held up. So more news to come.
Okay, thank you, sir. Michael, you have your hand up, and I think we'll.
Yeah, just picking up on something Chris said. Hey, Matt, do the cell phones you folks use, are they city property?
I'm using my personal cell phone, so I don't have a city phone.
Okay. How many of the people in your office have city phones?
I don't know. I think we're all pretty much using our personal cell phones right now.
All right. Because what Chris said, if you have city cell phones, I think they should be available. But if you're using your own, I will withdraw. Thank you.
And I concur with Mike on that, to clarify. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Okay, so
my cell phone number, if you need it anytime anytime you guys need my phone, is 310-801-1563. And we can you can call me on my cell phone. Just please be respectful of after hours, type of calls or on the weekends, because I do enjoy my personal time.
Just block them.
Understood. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, and great questions. Thank you, Matt, for your time and for being here with us today. Let's see. I'm going to move on. Mr. You have anything to share with us? Any updates?
I'm sorry, did you call on me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, thank you. To start off, some not so good news. The city has reported a 17% homicide increase rate over last year, but that comes down to 49% over 2019, so homicides are way up. In fact, here in Devonshire, we had a murder-suicide in North Hills this past month, and a week ago, we had 3 people shot near White Oak and Lassen. That's kind of up on the rise. We're still seeing catalytic converter being stolen. In fact, the Devonshire Police Station is having a catalytic converter identifications tomorrow. I think you had to register to do it. They're going to put your VIN number or some number on your catalytic converter. That's going on tomorrow. There's also a continual problem with burglary and theft for motor vehicles. It's still astonishing. You hear it all the time. People are surprised their car gets broken into and they say, my wallet got stolen, my computer, all my stuff was stolen. And some people even leave the keys in the car. No one should be stealing stuff from cars, but it's hard to be sympathetic when people don't take precautions like leaving things visible and with unlocked. The SLO office is now restarted their new monthly newsletters. I just looked at the November one, which is just posted. On that, you can see every basic car, John Parker or Sellers, which is in our area. They talk about all the crime stats within their area and a few other information, but they have all the SLO information and for every area. You can get that on the Devonshire, LAPD Devonshire website. And like I said, that's the November newsletter is already out. A little bit other news. The Granada Hills Chamber is starting the government affairs meeting again, beginning, the first one will be in December. And my own personal, my UCC United Chambers of Commerce Government Affairs, which I run and chair, on November 15th at noon, one of our speakers will be Councilman John Lee. You can be invited. We have, usually you're supposed to be a member of a chamber, but we have opened the meeting up to members of the public. You can get in touch with me or United Chambers to get the link to that meeting, November 15th at noon. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, I have a hand up from constituent. Is that John?
Yeah.
You've got the floor and mute yourself, please.
Very good, thank you. Just a quick question. You mentioned some of the crime in the area. Last night, 14 of the neighbors on my street identified somebody who at midnight was walking along and pulling the mail out of each of the boxes that hadn't been picked up yet. And he left with a bag full of mail and nobody saw him in regards to, where he's going, what he's doing. He was on foot. So in a case like this, who do you recommend we call? We all were scratching our heads. One of us tried to call, Devonshire, another one called the post office. What do you recommend?
Well, you're visualizing or seeing a crime in progress. So that's a 911 call.
Okay, well, these are all videotaped, so none of us saw it in progress.
Okay, well, that goes to the post office. They have their own investigation team for mailbox theft.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other hands up. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I don't see any other government representative on the call. Okay, so we are going to move on to.
I have my hand up for 1 second.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
No, I just put it up. I was waiting to see if there's anybody else. I'm wondering why we're not getting any people from the police attending the meeting, that especially after Richard's report. So it's like,
Well, the slows themselves are basically scheduled to go to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 during the whole year. So we have 2 slows in both the Granada Hills neighborhood councils. And they basically take turns going to the different meetings. Like I said, they don't go to all of them.
so they're cut back. Is that what you're saying? They've cut back on personnel?
Yes, and there's several slows even have been out. Corral has been out. Danny Day Vile is just come back. Patty Patique has been gone since I don't know, almost a year now. She has some health problems. And of course, Jose Torres has been gone since June. The slow head slow is Eric Swihart. But again, if you really want questions, it's best to go to the neighborhood watch meetings that Parker puts on, in fact, in Orozco Park, off of Orozco, Bee Canyon Park. He has the meeting and you can ask questions. He brings specific crime data, and same with Sellers meeting. They both have meetings, and that's where most of the answers can be given.
Seems to be slating the neighborhood councils if that's the case.
Oh, I don't see that they're slighting you, but
well, they have to
I think it's some of the responsibility of the neighborhood councils to go to their meeting, especially the public safety people. That's what report on what's going on.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Any others before I move on? I thought I saw someone with a hand up, but okay. All right, let's move on to agenda item C, I believe. So the format has changed. This is public comment on both agenda and non-agenda items. It is limited to 2 minutes. So this is the time where if you are a constituent and you would like to speak on anything that is on the agenda, this would be the time to do so. Raise your hand, and then we will call you in the order in which you raised your hand. So, Mr. Fisk, yes, sir.
Now this is Maria.
Oh, hi, Maria. Okay. Hi, Maria.
We come under the one name. Anyway, I do see that you've got a very important agenda item tonight on the marijuana dispensaries and to limit them within the specific plan. Just a little background. As part of the community plan revision and specific plan revision, the Granada Hills South Neighborhood Council worked many, many years, long hours to try to get some limits on marijuana dispensaries. At one time, we had medical marijuana dispensaries that brought a lot of crime and gangs. We had about 5 of them in the immediate area, and they brought a lot of crime to the area. So whatever you all can do to put this forth to City Council, to John Lee, and get some support on that, I would be right there behind you, supporting you as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for that. Okay, any others? I don't see any others raised. Okay, so we will move on then to item D, President comments. The only thing is I want to stress again for the committee chairs, it is important that if you are, again, just a reminder, if for your agendas, they be posted within the specified time frame, that is 72 hours. If it's a cancellation, the same thing, it's 72 hours, unless it is a special meeting. A special meeting only requires 24 hours for posting. The other thing too is when you submit your agenda to Dun, it has to be in PDF. If for some reason you can't, I recommend that you find someone within your committee that can help you with that, because you don't want to risk that agenda not being posted on the official website. Lastly, the other thing too is making sure that your agendas are posted at Bee Canyon Park. All right. I post my agendas. When I do post my agendas, I see that other agendas are not on the board, and either they've been removed maybe, but please make sure that you post it at Cessna at Buchanan as well. All right, these are the requirements that we have. So with that, then let's move on to Executive Committee, item E1. And I believe, so the board meeting minutes for October were emailed last night. Hopefully you've got them. If not, I can share them. But so item 1 is motion to approve the following board meeting minutes. Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council, October 5th board meeting. So it is now open for any questions or discussion. Karen, you have your hand up.
Yes, just a very quick comment on the vote adjustment. Ralph Roy was not eligible to vote. So that just, the vote needs to be amended to, I think it was whatever the yes votes were, move that to ineligible from whatever the vote was. I guess, Alfredo.
He's stepped away. So okay.
Well,
so we'll have
anyway,
to,
so that's it. That's all I have.
So we'll have to, yeah, update that. Thank you, Karen, for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being on top of that as well. So we'll just make sure that other than that, is there anything else on the, so then we can move forward and take a vote with the caveat that it's going to be adjusted for Ralph.
Right. Move
Okay.
to approve.
Okay, who was that?
Karen, move to approve.
Karen?
Second. That's Robert Moore.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Second. Okay, so let's move forward then and take a vote. Any opposed? State your name, please. Okay, I hear none. Any abstentions? State your name. All right, I hear none. So those minutes are approved by unanimous vote. Thank you, everyone. Alfredo, thank you for putting them together. Alfredo? Sir, you're back. So with the meeting minutes, thank you so much for putting it together. Karen did bring up a good point, and that is Mr. Croy was not eligible to vote. So if you can just, before I send the final
I'll send it to you.
to Aaron, if you could just adjust it, put him in the ineligible column.
Yes.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Good eye. They were right. Whoever said that she has everything. She knows everything. She sees everything.
Oscar, point of order.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just want to keep it consistent and appropriate. Since
Yes.
Alfredo was not here when you asked for abstentions and no votes, I think it would be appropriate to do that.
To redo it. Thank you. That's a good point. Thank you, Brian. Okay, so let's go ahead and redo that just so it's on record. So let's redo that vote. And this is to approve the board meeting minutes with the caveat that it's going to be adjusted for Ralph Croy. So any opposed, state your name. I hear none. Any abstentions, state your name.
Thomas Hartfield, I abstain.
Okay. Okay, Thomas, any other? Okay, then that passes. All right, so let's move on to item E2. Discussion motion to review letter to Councilmember John Lee requesting the Granada Hills specific plan be immediately amended to add all marijuana business types to the list of prohibited businesses. There are currently 2 marijuana dispensary businesses in Granada Hills, which would not be impacted. The intention of the motion is to preserve and protect the quality of life and character of Granada Hills, limiting the number of marijuana businesses to the existing 2 businesses. Karen emailed that out, and I hope you had a chance to see it. If not, I'm happy to share it. Let's see here, and so can everyone see the letter?
Yep.
Yes.
will scroll down as you read it. Let me know when. That's pretty much it. The entire body of the email or mail. Okay, so let's open it up for discussion. Alfredo, Brian, actually, I think you had your hand up first, and then I will go to Alfredo.
Yeah, I am adamantly in agreement with the concept here, and I would like to see it go through, but I'm afraid that we are stating that we want the specific plan changed, and we have done, I can't say no because I don't know for sure, but I think we've done very little outreach to the community to get their opinion on it. And I think we should embark on a survey or a questionnaire to the community in some fashion, whether it be electronic or written, to get their opinion on it, to get an input from the community before we send a letter off asking for a change in the plan.
Thank you, sir. Alfredo?
Yes, I know that we're mentioning there's one dispensary already in our neighborhood. I know that it's not one in our neighborhood council necessarily jurisdiction, but I'm wondering if we ought to mention something like that there's already one in our neighborhood when there isn't one. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfredo. Chris?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So somebody who's struggled with congenital back pain for his entire life, just a couple things to think about. So how many Walgreens, CVS's, Rite Aids, grocery stores that all have pharmacies that are dishing out opioids in the Granada Hills North? And, you know, if I didn't work for if I didn't work for the company in the safety sensitive industry I'm in, I might have, you know, marijuana as a potential pain relieving, proven source to provide comfort. And so I think about all the other people that are going through this kind of stuff right here, and it's nothing I would wish against my worst enemy, as far as pain relief, anxiety relief, and other things that are documented to be addressed with the use of marijuana. And then we look at the other types of drugs being dispensed in the places I mentioned earlier. And, you know, you go into a Walgreens, a CVS, Albertsons, Kroger, whatever, I'm not picking on anybody. There's no armed guards there where there are at these dispensaries as required by their conditional use permit. And I think that's a deterrent in that case. I don't know for a fact. And I appreciate Mrs. Fisk's comments. And to make an informed decision, it would be great to see data if that validates her claims. So I don't know. I feel like maybe we're a little early in issuing this. It seems more passionate and emotional than fact-based. But I guess that's it. I'll leave it there for just things for the council to consider and ponder. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Good input. Alvin?
I think just giving my further input, just, you know, based on sources of my own, is that a lot of these facilities, not all of them, but a lot of the facilities that I've seen typically have armed guards on the outside, which, I mean, generally poses a bit of a public safety issue. And I do understand that a lot of the facilities have to have armed guards because it is a cash operation. So there's a lot more risk exposure. Just one thing to keep in mind, though, is, I mean, it also creates a bit of a public safety issue, because if something was to go down, that you're basically putting, a civilian at risk for being caught in the crossfire if something was to arise. So that's just my thoughts on this.
Thank you, Alvin. Brian?
Yeah, I understand the passion for allowing people to control their pain. I got that, but the state of California has allowed, as with Washington, as with Colorado, has allowed marijuana to be dispensed for whatever reason they've done it, and it is not all for pain. And that is an illegal decision that they made, because it is still not legal federally. It doesn't matter what the state does, it is typically illegal, and we take on the responsibility as a council to enforce all laws, local, state, and federal. Now, you can always pick the laws that you want to agree with. I understand that, but the point is, it is actually physically illegal to have marijuana, to smoke marijuana in the United States at this time. And we're not saying by this letter that we are eliminating marijuana totally from the city. We are just saying that we don't want it up in the north, and it doesn't mean that they can't go to a dispensary somewhere else in the community or in the city, and there are plenty of them everywhere. So I don't think that the point we're making in this letter is not compassionate. I think it's honest, and we're not trying to infringe on somebody's ability to feel good. It is not our job, in my opinion, personal opinion, to determine which drug is more effective than another or more beneficial than another. And we do know that if you have pain and you smoke marijuana, it does not mean that you're not going to get high. So I think our letter is appropriate, and I would support it.
Thank you, sir. Karen?
Yes, I agree with what Chris said. This is 100%. We have one for sure that is open operation. I actually spoke with the owner of the business on Chatsworth Street. It has a substantial supply. They have an armed guard. They've done everything above book. They have insurance. They even have insurance for the marijuana itself. I mean, so they are doing everything on the level. And there are people who are dying from various diseases or suffering from chronic pain. And so the dispensaries that we have meet the needs of the people who do have a need for it. So we are not taking away anyone's comfort level. And this isn't about, going to a concert or people passing joints at parties and that type of thing. This is an operation that is a cash only operation. And there's just an element of danger with that, because the product itself can be sold on the street and in other places. And the cash itself, I mean, these are hard times, and it poses danger, and someone can get hurt. And lastly, with the liquor stores in close proximity, the new one is literally within a few feet of a 7-Eleven, which I think sells only beer and wine, right? But we can do outreach if you want. The city attorney did advise we are to do outreach in the version of an invitation, not the survey. They don't want us to do that. So we would be doing more of an invitation to a town hall. That's how they would like us to handle that in the future if we chose to do this. But it is a public safety concern, not taking away anyone's fun or anyone's comfort, but it is a concern given the increase in catastrophic accidents and so forth. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Karen. Sid, and then Robert, will come to you.
Thank you. It's a fact that marijuana is legal in the state of California. It's passed, they have dispensaries. I just want to approach it from my perspective as a psychiatrist who I can't give you actual statistics, but I would say in my practice, the use of marijuana has gone up about 800%. When I would ask somebody 10 years ago if they smoked, maybe 1 or 2 out of 100 were. Now it's up to 50, 60% of people are using this drug. And I see patients who are damaged by the use of this drug. There's good evidence that it can induce psychosis, make anxiety worse, etc. So in fact, I think the fewer opportunities we have to use this medication, I guess there's some use in pain. There's really no good studies on that. There are reports that it helps, but if you look at the data, it doesn't show that. So, but unfortunately, the state of California passed a law, and there are dispensaries. And I think our letter is appropriate to address our concerns about having a dispensary in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. Robert?
Just a couple of quick things on the safety issue. I think, in my personal opinion, that it's actually less dangerous to have the dispensaries than it is to have street vendors. We've had that years and years and years. Those people are less able to defend themselves. And when they do defend themselves, they usually defend themselves with firearms anyway. I'd rather have a trained armed security officer that's defending something, and chances are most of these business owners, because they have insurance and things like that, they're going to tell the armed security guard, you're there because you have to be there. If somebody robs a place, let them have it, let them go. It's not worth our lives. So I really don't see the safety concerns that everybody else is bringing up. The other issue that comes up, and Brian made a point about, they can go to a different area to get their marijuana. But why should we, as a city or a neighborhood council, say that it's okay if you do it in North Hills or Mission Hills or Van Nuys, but you can't do it here? Why is that any different than doing it here? Why is it any better or worse? And I just don't think we should restrict. I don't think we should be restricting trade. Excuse me. For that purpose. If there's other reasons, and marijuana is becoming more and more acceptable. Currently, Senators Booker, Wyden, and Schumer have introduced preliminary draft of a bill to end cannabis prohibition. That's as of July 2021. So, the federal government even sees that this is a waning or popular issue among people nowadays, and that views have changed on the use of it than it did in our generations or our parents' or grandparents' generation. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any others. Great input. So I don't see any other hands raised. Okay, so shall we then move forward and take a position on this? Okay. All right, so I'm going to take votes now, okay? And we'll start with those opposed. Any opposed? State your name.
Robert Moore.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any others?
Chris Coyle.
Chris Coyle. Any others?
I will abstain too, sir.
Alfredo, was that you?
Yes, I will. Alfredo Castillo, yes.
Thank you. Any others? Okay, I hear none. Abstentions? Any abstentions on this motion? State your name, please. Okay, I hear none. All right, those in favor? I would like to take a, let's name, start with, let's say, well, by default then, I mean, there's only 3 that opposed and no abstentions. So by default, then this motion passes.
Wasn't it 3 abstentions?
3 in opposition, 0 abstentions.
I thought it said abstain, but maybe.
What's that?
Fredo
I
was
thought
staying.
Oh,
I
you
thought I was
abstained.
abstaining, so that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
I
so
thought I heard-
Alfredo's abstaining. Okay, so we have two opposed, 1 abstention, and all others in favor. Okay. So that would mean there are 11 in favor, as we've got 14 in attendance.
Sure.
Okay.
And Ralph Chloe is still ineligible, right?
Right.
He is absent.
Oh,
But
that's right.
Still ineligible, though. That's just
yes,
made a
correct.
comment.
Yeah, Gibson confirmed that this afternoon.
Yes. So absent, we have Ralph, Sitlali, and Denisa.
Absent, yeah.
Okay. All right. Item E3. So it's just a reminder to do your anti-bias training. Okay. So Gibson did remind us that we only have 1 so far. So I'm guilty of not doing it too. So, but please take some time and complete it before the 30th of November.
So
Sid,
who's
you have your hand up, sir?
Yes, I do. Thank you for recognizing me. I have a question for anyone who's taken the training. Is there an exam afterwards, questions and answers?
My guess would be yes. Again, I think there's only 1 on this board who's taken it. Would that be you, Karen?
No, I have to say it's not, because I've been so busy with all the other things I've been doing.
Who would that be?
What do we check?
Oscar,
Yes.
if it's the same, I mean, I'm thinking it's the same city thing that we took at LAPD. And you're quizzed as you go along.
Okay.
But you cannot fail.
How can you not fail?
They let you take the test over.
So what if you keep on getting the answer incorrect?
Right.
You,
Okay.
you don't know, what if you don't agree with the
Semantics,
answer?
boys.
I don't-
Semantics, boys.
What if you don't agree with?
The question was there a
Total
test?
line.
And the answer
Total line,
is
Sid.
Okay, who's the sellout?
I'm trying to understand, it's a serious question. That if you have a bias training, that the people made up the questions have a certain bias towards the answers. And you may not agree with that bias. I don't mind taking the training. I do not want to be quizzed on whether I've been indoctrinated or not to the correct answer.
Well, Sid, would you like me to email Capri Maddox, because her department was one of the ones involved in actually
I
designing?
just want to know if this is an exam where you have to take answer questions.
Okay, well, let's see. Whoever does it first, please let Sid know.
someone did it already. I wonder who.
Somebody that's not here tonight.
What do we
Oh,
check? It was probably Ralph Clark.
Am I the one that did it? You have
But they wouldn't tell us.
No,
They
he
would
just
not tell
said, he
us.
just said 1 member.
because
Jason looks guilty.
I think I did it accidentally. I started the training and I was like, and I just continued through it. I went back with all the rest of the stuff. So I think that was me. I went through the module. I'm pretty sure it was me back when I did all the other stuff.
Probably.
Oh, way to go, Jason.
He didn't check out last meeting, remember?
But
Karen, what is the penalty for not taking it?
You're biased.
Well, it's
You're labeled.
well, it's a part of our required training now. So it's a part of that, you know, it's an addition
So
to the other
that
one.
means,
So.
does that mean we aren't eligible for voting if we didn't take it? We should find out.
Right,
Oh, sure. Well, you know, I'll be happy to find out and I'll
That's-
send you an
that's-
email.
So
No,
I want to follow up on Karen's
Chris,
statement.
yes,
It's
Chris, go ahead.
required
You had your
training,
hand up.
right? So if you want to participate in the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council, you have to take the training,
Yeah.
right? It's so
That's
you
it.
can identify and be self-aware. You don't have to necessarily agree with it, but it gives you awareness and some personal growth, and allows you to be aware of those unconscious biases. And I don't think that's a bad thing. If you personally disagree with it, great. Hopefully you learn something through the process, but then it can further the conversation around all of this together. So, but again, it's your choice. If you don't want to take the training, then you don't get to participate in the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council.
And
So,
folks,
just
you
want
know,
to clarify that.
Chris is totally right. And at LAPD, we had to take a 4-hour class live. And, you know, a lot of you might think of bias in certain ways, but the instructor started off the class by asking, there was a rainy night, terrible weather, father and son are driving home, the car goes out of control, goes over a cliff, hits a tree, the father is killed instantly, the son is badly injured. They airlift him to a hospital, and the surgeon on duty walks into the operating room and says, I can't operate on him. He's my son. Who is the surgeon?
His mother.
Okay, very good, Ro. You've heard of them before, Robert.
Was this part of the minutes? The jokes telling story here? The question was.
Okay.
The question was.
You
Sid
should have
said-
let,
the
you
question
should
was,
have
is
let
there a
them think
test?
about it for a while, Robert. Okay.
Sid asked, is there a test on this thing? He didn't ask if he should or not. He said, is there a test? We haven't answered this question.
Yeah, but Sid also stated, what if I disagree?
Right.
And that was the crux of what I was
That was the important question.
addressing. So, and I respect Sid's opinions, and he's more than welcome to disagree. I just thought I'd throw something out to think about.
No, that's Chris. Those are good points. Thank
Good
you.
job, Chris.
Sid, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I have no objection to taking the training. I just took training in CPR. There's certain factors that you have to learn about the rate and whatever that are absolute facts that one has to pass the test. In a test like this, that I've taken anti-bias training through the government, and the instructor for the first hour was reasonable. And then we went to other theories about privilege and all kinds of other things. And if I were to be tested on that, whether I agreed with the trainer, I think I would fail that exam, because I posed a number of questions to him during his discussion about his theories. I have nothing wrong in taking training. The question I have, if I don't pass an exam where I don't agree with what the training is, I have to get off the council because of that. I find that somewhat absurd. That these are not absolute facts you're dealing with. These are concepts being proposed, and you're being forced to answer a certain way. And I haven't seen the exam, but if I have to take an exam, I have a feeling that I may not agree with the examiner. I may be wrong. I'm willing to take the training. The question I have is, do I have to pass an examination to get credit for the training?
And I would expect the answer to be yes, but we can certainly do some more research into that, right, Karen?
Yeah.
Karen, you have your hand up?
Yes, well, I'd like to share, I have taken, to Michael's point and Chris's point, I have taken the state training. You know, I've worked for various global firms that have this training, and you actually learn a lot about yourself, about things that maybe you didn't even think of. It's very helpful because we serve all people. Our stakeholders are literally everyone from every walk of life, maybe even some homeless people as well. And so we do have to remember that we serve all stakeholders. And it might not necessarily be somebody we see every day or that we've ever interacted with, but by taking this training, it helps us to understand things that we might not have otherwise understood. It's very valuable. So go for it, learn something, and then we can even share, if, Oscar's open to a little open sharing if you wanted to do that. So let's do it.
Thank you, Karen. Brian.
Yeah, I don't want to drag this out, but I do want to make a point. Every single person that I've ever met has their own personal opinions about life and their existence with other people. We cannot enforce a change in their thinking. We should not enforce a change in their thinking. We should be able to educate them in understanding what some of this stuff means, and I would agree with that. I have no problem with the training, but I am with Sid on this because there is a situation where if the position is that you take a test and you have to pass this test, and I don't know that that's true, honestly, but we certainly will find out. But if it is true, then it's a matter of the unintended consequences of what they feel is a good idea, because the decisions that you make on that test can and may be held against you, and it is not something that as we go forward in life we're going to automatically change our opinions and our attitudes on things. So we could make mistakes, anybody could, and say or do something that is improper, or at least considered improper. So I have a problem with it if it is putting you in a position where now you know what to do, and if you make a mistake, you're out of here. And we've seen that quite a bit lately. We saw that with a coach, a professional coach in football. He had attitudes 10, 15 years ago. He said things that we wouldn't say today. And I don't know anybody that's my age that hasn't said things or done things that are now considered, you can't do that. But when we were young, there was no issue with the way we spoke or talked. So there is a position here where we have to be careful as human beings as to how we impact other people, because as I say, this is supposed to be a free society to think and act the way you want, but we pass laws to stop you from hurting other people, and I agree with that. I agree with not hurting other people and being careful of what you say to people, but I think we have to be very careful as to how far we allow this to go. And so I agree with Sid, and I think we have to know what we're doing before we do it. That's all.
Thank you, Brian. Alvin.
Yeah, just one thing that I want to just put in context, just because, I've had to have conversations about this with, multiple employers that I've been with now in the last year or so, specifically with my affinity groups. And one of the things to keep in perspective is, this subject matter was not necessarily designed to constitute a comfortable conversation. I mean, I wish there was another way that I could put it, but the reality is this subject matter, it's in caveating off of what Chris said, that it's one of those things where you take the training, you don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I just think something to just understand in context is that when it comes to the subject matter of unconscious bias, the reality is it's not designed to constitute a comfortable conversation. And just understand something in life that, in order for you to move forward in life, sometimes you got to make the most uncomfortable decisions. And this one is definitely not an exception, that even if we come to a point where we agree to disagree, it's at the end of it's at the end of the day, the only way you're going to move forward in a conversation, no matter what subject matter it is, sometimes it's going to be the most uncomfortable conversation. So that's just my thought on this.
Thank you, Alvin. Great point. Sid?
Well, I brought this up and I'm willing to look and see if there's an examination. I'll wait. If there's no examination, I have no problem with training. If there's an examination, then I may look to other answers. But to me, I have all kinds of uncomfortable conversations. I think I've been trained in the study of the unconscious and bias and prejudice. It's part of my training. But again, where you're directed to a certain answer. Freud believed in one thing, Jung believed in another thing, Adler believed in another thing. And if you had to answer your question based on that, there may be different answers. So you have a bunch of theories here being proposed, and they have some merit. They may be uncomfortable, but one does not have to pass an examination. It's not for board certification. And I don't think that to be on a board of an elected board, you have to pass an examination that you've passed anti-bias training. That you took the training.
Yeah, I'm jumping in here. Yeah,
hold on,
yes, you
Chris.
have to pass it. You go back to the Constitution. Black people were considered 3/8 of a human being, and they knew that as fact 200 years ago. We know that is wrong now. All we're trying to do is get people to learn and be aware and grow. If it's a test that's really bothering you, okay.
Thank you, Chris. Let me, Jason, you had your hand up. So
I was just going to say, from what I remember, there was not like an essay portion or anything like that asking for opinions of things. I understand Brian's concern about that it could be used against you if something was to happen. But I remember it being more about definitions of different types of bias and stuff like that, multiple choice. I remember questions like that, which it's just, we talk about specific definitions of words that people should be aware of, because it is talked about just in general. I don't think that there was anything that was particularly concerning as far as like your opinion, or it was just more factual from what I remember, that these are different types of biases and just to be aware of the different ones that are out there. So I'm Sid, you're probably already familiar with all this anyway.
No, I'm glad to hear that. I've seen other texts that are not. Thank you.
So at the end of the day, like whether there's an exam or not, and probably there is, I think it would behoove us to, at least for me, to take it. I'm sure there's stuff there that I can gain, that I can learn from. And if you get to the point where you finish it, and if there is an exam, then withhold yourself from doing it, taking the exam, and let's see what happens from that point. But I believe, like Chris and many here were saying, the exchange that we've had on this topic has been great. Perhaps, do ourselves a favor and see what it has to say, and we can learn from it. And we may not agree. Of course, we may not agree with everything on there, but I'm sure there's stuff there that we can certainly take and learn from. Thomas.
Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, I just wanted to state on record that if somebody is uncomfortable taking an anti-bias training, they certainly should not represent a diverse community such as Granada Hills. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. The attendees, Jeff, I noticed you had your hand up and you brought it down. Did you want to share something with us? Okay. So I think we can just kind of end this item. And again, it's on the 30th, or that's the deadline. Take it if you're comfortable, and let's go from there. Okay, Brian, lastly.
Yeah, Oscar, I was going to keep my mouth shut here, but I can't because the fact that the action we take to take the bias training or not to take the bias training is a personal decision. It has nothing to do with our ability, in my opinion, to be honest, fair, and non-judgmental with our community and our stakeholders. I don't believe that is a test of your ability to perform. You know, we have to recognize and we have to be honest with ourselves in every respect. There is nobody that doesn't have a bias or a prejudice on something in their life. Nobody. But the rule, it is not illegal to have a bias. It is illegal to act on it to harm other people in any way. And and I think we have to be careful to understand that a bias is is a personal thing, and it should stay personal. And a decision to take an action is a personal thing, and it is not a position that you take that is in opposition to other people unless you act on it. So I want to be very careful not to condemn anybody for their decision either way. That I think that would be wrong. So that's just my personal opinion.
Okay, I think that's a fair assessment, and I agree. Okay, Thomas, I'm gonna let you take the floor, and then we're done so that we can move forward because it is 8 o'clock already.
Sure. Okay.
Thomas?
Yeah. Thank you, Oscar. I mean, maybe we're, beating around the bush here, but the point is, things like, to Chris's point, things have changed. The whole concept of taking the anti-bias training is don't say those things that you may want to say. It's wrong. Don't verbalize them. You shouldn't think them in the first place. If you can't keep it inside, you know what? Take the anti-bias training and learn that, our world has evolved. You can't say those things anymore. Don't act on them. Don't do it. I stand 100% behind anti-bias training. And for that matter, I'm in my 50s, and I will continuously take training and higher education for the rest of my life because I want to evolve. I want to learn. I want to be better every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're done with this topic. Thank you, everyone. Again, good exchange, great input. Let's move on to item F, Treasurer Report. The first thing is there is no October MER because it usually takes, 3-4 days?
It's not available, Oscar, until the 5th day of the month, ever.
So, all right. So then I will let you move on to the next items. Brian, sorry.
That's okay. I will say that when anybody wants to look at the financial position, you do have the dashboard to go to, and you can see what's happening and what's been done, what's been paid, what's outstanding, what I have screwed up on. You can see it all. So you have that opportunity to go there anytime. The budget advocates are in the process of having meetings. I find that this year the meetings that we're having with the departments have been moved up considerably. I have already had 2 meetings. I will have 2 more this week. The last one is with Dunn. I've met with City Clerk's office. I have met with the Animal Services, and I am going to meet with Finance tomorrow. So these meetings are all moved forward to a point where we do not even have the budget that we can't see a budget proposal for 22-23, which is the period of time which we would weigh in on. But I have to say that we have made some progress, even though I'm not exactly in full agreement with everything that the budget advocates do. We have made some progress. 5 years ago, I suggested that we try to get embedded with the departments on an early basis, and so that we can have a little bit of advice to the departments as to how their budgets will be developed for the next year. That hasn't happened until really this year, where we now have the ability to get with the departments prior to their even finishing the development of it before they submit it to the mayor. So in that respect, we have a better chance of having some influence in the development of the budgets. It's still very immature, but it's a step in the right direction, and I think it's going to be beneficial. And I can also tell you that the departments, the city departments, are looking at their budgets very carefully. They are coming back up to speed with regards to the resources they have available. They are moving forward with regards to things like records retention and redevelopment of their systems. This is moving forward. So the city hasn't rebounded, it hasn't reconstituted everything, but it is certainly on the road to do so. And I guess I would have to say that I have good feelings for where it may go, and we have an opportunity here to be a little bit more involved than before. So that's a good thing. It's as always, if anybody has any questions or concerns for any of the departments, I still would like to take that information. You send it to me, and I'll be happy to pass it along to the budget advocates that are involved in the area that you have concern. That hasn't happened yet, but let's hope that it does. And I'm willing to take any questions you have if you have any. Doesn't look like it. Everybody knows the budgets.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, let's Plum Committee. Thomas.
Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, we have the Plum Committee. I've got the agenda here. So we basically discussed 3 items. Just quickly, the status of the San Fernando Mission Boulevard and Woodley Avenue mixed-use development construction project. We discussed the excuse me, the John F. Kennedy High School rounded up about $175 million comprehensive modernization project. And we discussed the 17925 Indian Meadow Road new home construction. Not a lot going on right now, so all good news. But just to recap, the first one was just a mixed-use development, just kind of turning that over. Second one, modernization from the Los Angeles Unified School District, obviously a good thing. And the third thing was just a single-family residence. They own that site, and they're just putting a couple of other dwellings on their kind of acreage, for their family residence is what it is. So that's what's going on. The next meeting, I'll take questions after this, but the next meeting is scheduled on November 18, 2021, 6:30. And this is the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council Planning and Land Use Committee meeting. Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
November 18, right? Is the meeting? Sorry.
Michael?
Yes, I'm sorry, just to answer his questions, Alfredo's, yes, November 18, next Thursday at 6:30 via Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it next Thursday or 2 weeks from Thursday?
Yeah, I guess the
18th,
2 weeks
two
from
weeks.
this Thursday, so November 18, right. Correct, yeah.
Gotcha.
And Oscar, you have the control, but it looks like there might be a question.
Yeah, Michael?
But Thomas, you're not at all concerned about this housing project, that they're building all these houses and they could sell them off. I mean, I don't want to disparage any particular profession, but these are all lawyers. And you can build a nice little housing tract without even subdividing it. So are there any concerns about that?
So yeah, so if that's a question, I mean, I'm not deeply involved because obviously they've gone through the Los Angeles Planning Commission, so they kind of went, above and beyond, which, they're certainly willing to do that, or able to do that rather. My understanding from looking at it is it's a private family who owns that acreage. And, what they've described is they're just building specific housing needs for their immediate family, not to resell, to the general public. And of course, that's a ADU, accessory dwelling unit. They're certainly able to do that. So we have no control in, kind of limiting that. But to answer your question, could they in the future subdivide it? I guess that is a possibility. I don't know if they could. I'm sure they can. But at this point, we can't force them to not do it.
And Thomas, if they're considering this ADUs, you can only build one ADU on a property, correct?
Yeah, my understanding is it's a more than a couple acreage property, so they obviously have the land to do it. But I couldn't answer your question specifically tonight because I don't have the details, and I don't know how, if and when they've subdivided it or how they've developed it. I do not know the specifics.
Well, have they already been to your committee?
No, they have not. They bypassed us.
Well, that would tell me that maybe we need to do a little bit more on this. All right, because I see a big property and they're not building small houses. They're building a house for every quote family member. All right, and to me, this is a great way to build a tract without going through a whole lot of regulation. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, my understanding is they're building a compound for their extended family, but I do see a hand raised by the Vice President Karen Waters. She may have more information, which I believe she does. So I'd like to turn it over to her, and maybe she can fill us in a little bit more. Oscar, could you recognize Karen, please?
Yeah, hold on. I have Brian first, and then we'll go to Karen. Let's do it.
I don't want to take thunder from Karen, but I thought it was at the Plum meeting that they presented their case, but if it wasn't, I did hear somebody present their case on this property. And you're right, Michael, it is a family of lawyers, but I wanted to address your question about one ADU on the property. And after the passing of SB 9 and 10, they now can build 4 ADUs on a property. Now, this is a large property, so it's not an issue. But they do have the right to do so at the moment because that was signed into law by Newsom. So they do have the right to do so.
I think, Brian, what you were referring to as far as presentation, I think it was the last board meeting, one of them showed up and they explained what they were doing. But we did also recommend back then this was at the October board meeting, we suggested that they reach out to the Plum Committee meeting and present, or at least let us know, give us more details. So perhaps that's something that we just need to still do, is reach out to them. Karen.
Yes, thank you, Thomas and Oscar. Yeah, so the developer did attend our I beg your pardon, it's November already, our October board meeting, because the Plum meeting for September had been canceled, and there had been questions asked by Bill Cotter and a few other stakeholders about what was going on up there. So she did speak very briefly and showed a description, but it is not only her intention to attend a future Plum meeting, and also the owners to attend a future Plum meeting. I guess it's not going to be a surprise to hear this, but when they purchased the property, there were transients camping and living up there. So they had to go through the process of getting rid of them and cleaning it all up, and that's what they have done so far. The construction will start, the permitting and all of that will start next year, following construction, depending on how the permitting process goes. So they will be attending a future Plum meeting. Unfortunately, I did have a fumble, I guess I could call it that way, and I had something going on at home and completely missed the Plum meeting. I had intended to send the agenda to actually to discuss it with Thomas, but we will get to it. It will be addressed, and they were very polite and very responsive, and I think we can present those questions when we meet with them.
Are you going to call on me next, Oscar?
Oscar, unmute yourself. Oscar, unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry, Chris. Yes, I did. But
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
I was muted. My apologies. So, Chris, go ahead.
No, I didn't want to get it.
No, you're
so.
I'm like,
Anyway,
you're me.
I think everybody's got great questions on this, and the one thing that would probably resolve a lot of our questions, there has to be written documentation as far as what the property is allowed to do and not to do. Right? Either it's a conditional use permit, or covenants, or restrictions, or subdivision documents, or things like that that bind the property as far as its future use and going on and going on. So I would think instead of us, again, peppering everybody with these questions, if we could get the documentation as far as what the property is restricted to, we could all read that, and then it would probably answer 99% of our questions as far as its future use, subdivision, as far as Greenwald said, those kinds of things. And then we can have some real good, poignant, direct conversation about the potential impact to Granada Hills North. So if they're going to come to us, I would love to see that documentation ahead of time. And then we're going to have a fantastic discussion about it. So thank you.
Right, and thank you, Chris. That's what I meant to add to that, is that we do have some, I joined the plan check, which was very helpful, and collaborated with some of my fellow neighborhood council people throughout the city. And so we now have a best practices for Plum, which is actually exactly what Chris was talking about, where we will, if in this case, we need to see the documentation to review that. And then we invite them by an invitation to attend and invite the community. So we learned a lot over the last few months. And so this was great to learn. So that is exactly what we will be doing.
I just wanted everybody to see me nod to Karen.
Thank you. That was great. But yes, so we are, Plum is going to be really shining more. Thomas, I'll send that to you.
Great. Thank you very much. And yeah, that concludes the presentation unless anyone has any questions. But thank you, Ms. Waters, and thank you, Mr. Coyle.
All right, so let's move on. Thank you, Thomas. Much appreciated. Emergency Preparedness Committee report. Now, not much has been going on with this. I believe the committee members are Robert, Alfredo, and Graham, right? So one thing with this is I think there was a discussion about coordinating a meeting, putting something together with, I believe it's Dave. Is that correct? So that maybe he can provide us some guidance. But we should maybe establish, or this committee should have a meeting to see, to select a chair. I don't know that we have a chair for this committee just yet, or do we?
It's Robert.
Was Robert, were you?
Actually, no chair has been selected. Karen kind of appointed me. I'm fine with it.
Well, and that's why I'm asking the question. So, Robert, are you accepting that position then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. So that way, so then let's kind of after this or coordinate again a meeting. I know we had a call with Dave, and so the goal was to have a meeting with him so that we can kind of, pick off of his expertise and see if he can give us some guidance. All right.
And if I may ask something, Brian, do we have emergency preparedness items in the storage that we picked up from Bill's?
You bet we do. It wasn't
Okay.
I picked them all up from SOS.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then it'd be good for Robert to see those items and maybe assess those to see what we might need.
I could certainly meet with you, Robert, over at the storage and show you what we have.
Okay.
It's a lot.
That's good. Let's take inventory. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Robert. Okay. Moving on, Citywide Issues Committee report. So, Sid, take it away. You've got 3 items on here.
The first item is the committee's been looking to respond to some of the mandates, whatever that has been put forward by various commissions, councils, neighborhood councils. And the feeling was that the neighborhood councils have been around for a long time, and there should be sort of a Bill of Rights saying what neighborhood councils are entitled to do. And the committee has formed a number of concepts that we would like to discuss, maybe at a special board meeting, if the committee here feels that the Bill of Rights should be put forward. But I think the committee believes that there are certain proposals, certain ideas that maybe should be ensconced in the ordinance of neighborhood councils, that they don't have to respond to every directive that comes from a commission without having some input into it. One of them would be such as the code of conduct would have to be approved by the neighborhood councils. The 99 neighborhood councils would have to vote on it to approve it before it goes to city council for work, etc. Things like that. And we wanted to discuss that. It would take up too much time at a board meeting, but if the board felt that we should have a concept of a Bill of Rights, then at a special meeting, discuss various concepts that would go into this Bill of Rights. And this was passed by the committee unanimously.
Mute myself. Sorry, I keep muting myself. So are there any questions or comments on this? I don't see any hands raised. So, Karen?
Yes, Sid. So on the Bill of Rights, is this something that would be going to BONC first, the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners? And how have you discussed this with them at all?
No, this is, again, something that's coming from the neighborhood council. As a concept that a Bill of Rights be developed. One of the things at the meeting could be discussed that this would go to BONC as well. But basically, the board has to decide whether they want to explore the concept of a Bill of Rights, and the exact process would be done at a special meeting.
So what we're voting on is whether we want, we agree and we would like a Bill of Rights, and if so, then to Sid's point, we would schedule a special meeting to discuss the details of what that Bill of Rights is going to be consistent of. Is that correct, Sid?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And is there general language that I wasn't at the LANC meeting, I'm sorry. What at the LANC meeting, what did they say specifically? Is there sort of a rough draft of the Bill of Rights for everyone to?
There is a rough draft prepared, and that would be sent out before the as a guide, but not firmed in stone. These are sort of, there's about 18 or 19 ideas that have been put forward by the committee, but we didn't want to discuss that at the meeting here.
Right, right, sure. Okay.
Any others?
I'll just answer Karen's guy. I brought it up at the LANC, and I had interest from about 3 or 4 neighborhood councils that were there that they would like to see what action we take. So that's, if any.
Okay.
Yeah, may I respond? I think that when in the special meeting, one of the concepts we need to think about is how do you present it? How do you take it forward? And my suggestion would be not to take it to Dunn or BONC first, but to take it to LANC, which represents all 99 neighborhood councils, and get it out to the councils and have the councils as a whole bring it back. And it would hold more weight on BONC and Dunn. Yeah. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay. All right, so I don't see any more hands. So shall we move forward then and take a vote? This does not require a second because it's from committee. So any opposed to this motion, state your name. Any abstentions? I hear none. I hear none for opposed and abstentions. So therefore, this motion passes. So then the follow-up will be a special meeting that we'll have to set up to discuss the details. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that moving forward. Okay. The next motion has to do, which comes from Lank, and Lank had a working committee on the code of conduct ordinance suggested, or ideas suggested by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. And they felt before any action or moving forward, there's a list of recommendations that Lank is putting forward. A number of neighborhood councils have already voted on this and supported it. And so we're bringing it here to basically before that code of conduct is initiated, that Dunn work with the representatives of Lank to iron out some of the questions that are in the ordinance or their recommendations.
Sorry. Okay. Any questions or hands on this item? I don't see any. Okay, let's move on then. So we'll take a vote. And again, it doesn't require a second because it came from committee. Any opposed to this motion? State your name. Okay, I hear none. Any abstentions? State your name, please. I hear none. Therefore, this motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sid.
And finally is a discussion motion that Granada Hills North Neighborhood submit to Councilman John Lee a recommendation that he create a council file regarding illegal fireworks, that it would address the appropriate legal actions be developed to punish those who traffic, set off, or import illegal fireworks, and to include in the ordinance the ability for police to enforce appropriately the ordinance. The reason for this, we've discussed fireworks, we've looked at it. There was a big discussion at Bonk, at Vank, Valley Alliance, about the fireworks ordinance that people are just firing off. People would see it, they report it, nothing would be done about it. There's no enforcement in the present ordinance. And the police say they're not involved. No one wants them to get involved. So we felt there should be a little more clout in the ordinance, and we felt that we would recommend to our councilman to bring forward a new council file regarding the fireworks ordinance.
Karen, you've got the floor.
Yes. Sid, would we be expanding? We submitted a CIS on the Monica Rodriguez's council file about fireworks. I know because I'm the one that wrote the CIS, and then the board approved it. So would we be expanding upon the CIS we already submitted to, because we can't update the existing, because there's a council file that's been established on that. Is that what you meant by this?
Could you refresh my memory of what our recommendation was in regards?
Well, we were supporting the council file with, there was a variety of punishments and buybacks and so forth. This board did oppose the buyback portion of that, but there were accountabilities in that. So we could expand upon that, or do you?
I have no objection to that. If you want to make an amendment, that would be fine.
So would you like to have a new, have it an addendum to the CIS we submitted that would add set some punishments for the fireworks, something like using the language, similar language?
Basically discussion, a motion to amend our council files so that council file would address regarding illegal fireworks the appropriate legal actions to be developed.
Legal action. Okay. Okay.
I have no
All right.
objection to that if we already have something that wouldn't have us to get John to do something.
So legal action.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I'll email it to everyone because I don't remember the council file number.
Sorry, Karen, I don't either. I was trying to see if I can find it in my folders,
I think it was in May,
and I can't seem
April or
to
May.
find it.
It was Rodriguez and Koretz, I think.
Alvin has his hand up, so.
Alvin, thank you. Go for it, Alvin.
Yeah, Sid, I just had a quick question. So the part where you're proposing for punishment for those who set off or import, I mean, it's good, but just need to know specifically. So we're speaking as far as importing locally or internationally. Because the only reason I ask that is because a lot of the fireworks are not only imported domestically, but they're also imported internationally or smuggled in. So I'm just saying maybe the language should specify that.
How about adding import from any locality?
Okay.
I would say that would work.
Or import from anywhere.
Right.
Import from anywhere, including Nevada and Ventura and all these other places.
Okay. Because I'm just saying, if you say just from anywhere, just keep in mind the jurisdiction changes. Because when it's imported internationally, that's federal jurisdiction.
Right. I'm just saying, basically, I think the city has defined what illegal fireworks are. Okay, I think there's a definition for it.
I think the city considers all fireworks illegal.
Yes.
So there's your definition. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Brian?
Yeah, the original CIS was, I believe, and I could be wrong, because I haven't looked it up either, but I believe it was more in terms of the importation, the importation of the fireworks, and I think it was supporting the buyback program. I think we had a long discussion on the buyback program. What we're talking about now is basically trying to take the handcuffs off the police, who have no ability to enforce the illegal use of them, because it currently says that if you don't see them physically setting them off, you can't enforce any penalty. So you can't arrest them, you can't cite them. So what we're talking about, I agree with you, Karen, that this would be an addendum, it would be an amendment to it, but it does take it farther than our original statement, and I think that is an appropriate statement. We need to look at that and review that and make appropriate changes based on what we're talking about now.
So would you like Sid, would you like us to go back to committee on this so we can word it and everyone can review it, so that we make sure we have it the way you would like? It's a good start, but legal action and, importing from outside of the boundaries, the LA, Los Angeles boundaries. Would you like to do that?
If you want to move to table, I have no objection. So
We'll just go back. So we just go back to, I'll join your meeting that day or that evening so that we can just go over it, so that, your committee has an opportunity to, since we are making an addendum to a CIS, which wasn't the original intention, so that it can be the way you would like.
I have no objection to withdrawing it at this point. We'll been around. We'll do it again.
All right.
If Sid's withdrawing that, then I would make a motion to send this back to committee to be
Yes.
reviewed.
Okay. Second.
Okay. So then the motion is to send it back to committee. Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we
No.
probably should.
Okay, well, let's go for it just to be safe. So we're sending this back to committee. Any opposed? State your name. Hear none. Any abstentions? State your name. I hear none. Okay, so this is going back to committee. Thank you, everyone. This is, Karen, thank you for reminding us of the CIS and also, making sure that we can.
Just want to report something for the committee that wasn't motioned, but the suggestions. One, not a suggestion, but Brian Allen was elected as the vice chair of the committee to be serving that role. And then just what happened now is we feel that our website should be updated similar to the council file system that they have at City Hall. So if we want to look up an ordinance or whatever, it would be easy to find rather than having to remember which meeting, which whatever that. And I just don't know if we can do that on the website, but that was one of our problems. I didn't know exactly where to look for that CIS and where it was filed. And if we had some sort of system where we could retrieve our documents and our actions and have a record of what things we sent in one place, would be easy to find. So that a recommendation for consideration for whoever oversees the website.
Because that is a potential for cost, I think it would be best, I'd like to suggest that we put that on the next agenda to discuss doing this and try and get an idea. We can get an idea from Aaron very quickly as to what it would cost to modify the website in order to do that.
Well, wouldn't that be under Citywide? For example, what I was thinking about is you have someone take the minutes at your meeting, Sid, with those specific items, and then they could be attached to the to Citywide minutes for whatever month with those specific items, because that is within the scope of Aaron's work.
Yeah, it would come from the Citywide, but all I'm saying is well, okay, we can wait and do it that way. I got you. Never mind.
Well, okay. Well, we can. It's just a suggestion. We're not taking it, so we'll take that under consideration in our in the committee. Okay. Thank you. So I'm done. Okay, the committee's done.
Okay. Thank you, Sid. I keep forgetting to unmute myself. Okay, next, Outreach and Publicity Committee. Karen, did you have anything? I know you didn't have a meeting, but is there anything?
Yes, I wanted to start by saying thank you to Brian and Jason, Sasha Lester. Miss Sasha Lester was with us. Alvin, Raheem, Nathan, Robert, Oscar, and Michael Greenwald for joining and attending and working the booth. I'm sorry, and Graham also at the street fair. It was wonderful to see everyone in person, some for the first time, and we had a great time. I mean, we really did. So thank you to everyone for joining in. It was great to see you in person. And then for the holiday parade, the one of the movie studios is providing some vehicles. So we had, last year's riders were Oscar, me, Jason Lester, and Alfredo. So we have capacity for 4 riders. So I already sent the application in because I had to do that. So just email me if you want to ride, and I can get that in there. First come, first serve. It's a lot of fun. We had a great time.
All right.
Okay, and the holiday parade is December the 5th, 2021. And I also was honored to be asked by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment to, I was invited by Raquel Beltran personally to be a part of the virtual, the hybrid committee. And the notes are in the Empower LA website, so I won't get too deeply into it because you can look it up there. But part of the problem with the hybrid is that all neighborhood councils are not, don't have the same capabilities that we do, for example. They may not have Wi-Fi, or they might not have the funds available to spend, and there is a cost of roughly about $10,000 for this equipment. So, and the other thing that was in the notes that I advocate, that most of us are concerned about, is safety in having meetings in person again, because the divisiveness of this country, the climate is unsafe. City Council has, to Brian's point, and I think it was Sid's point, that City Council has plenty of security for everyone who's been down there before. I mean, the screening is just like going to LAX. And so the pushback on the city is, before we meet in person, we want some sort of security, or we need to continue to meet like we're meeting, because we are all volunteers and our lives are what's more important than anything. So that's kind of where it is right now. Bunk was impressed with the presentation. It was presented by Raquel to them. So I will keep you updated on what's happening with that. But that's it for this month. And it's good to see everybody. And thank you again for attending the street fair.
It was a very good event. It's always fun. I mean, I just wish I had more time to go to the booths, but it's always nice to be there.
Mr. Castillo, you have a question?
Brian? Oh, well, let's see. Brian.
Well, does Brian, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Brian, your hand is,
it's all right.
I can't see it.
That's all right.
I don't know who was first. I don't know who was first.
It's okay. We'll get to Brian. Alfred.
The question was, did we have established a budget? What if we have more than 4 people, more than 5 people volunteering?
Say that again, Alfredo.
What if we have more than 4 for the Granada Hills holiday parade? What if we have more than 4 people volunteering and we don't have, we just need one
someone
car?
has to let me know right away.
Yeah.
Someone has to let me know right away, because we have to work that out, because I was going to Galpin, and then I was told that I didn't have to do that because the car would be provided. So please email me. I need to know by Thursday, and then I'll take the count and we'll work it from there. It's a lot of fun though. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Karen,
yeah,
you can go to Galpin and they provide cars for free.
Yes, I know.
There's no
I was
charge.
going to do that.
Because
So if
I've
we
done
need
that
another
before.
Okay, so if we need another car and the studio capacity is reached, then we'll go to Galpin. But if everyone will let me know, it'd be great to have 2 cars. We just would need 2 banners for the cars, but it's a lot of fun, and we will have the bullhorns, which were already approved. So we'll have those, 1 per car if necessary. So it'd be fun.
Have they been purchased?
They will be. I'll just submit you.
I was gonna say, I didn't know.
I thought about it. I've been so busy. I thought about it. I'm like, oh, now this is exactly, because I lost my voice last year, or it was 2019. Oscar can tell you, I was actually mouthing happy holidays to everybody. So anyway, so please email me, and I will see,
Yeah, so we can
meet the capacity.
So we can coordinate with. So we can coordinate with that team. Michael.
Yeah, Karen, are we doing the shred event on December 18th?
Oh, Brian, it's booked, right? With shred, with on off.
I don't know. We were both going to try and get a hold of them, and I forgot this week. So I'll try and do it tomorrow.
Okay, Michael, I'll confirm back to you tomorrow because I believe one of us booked it, so we'll confirm back to you.
Good deal.
Thank you, Michael.
So is this, forgive me, this is a short event for our council. It's not.
Yeah, right. No, for December 18th. And so we will just do we just got a little bit too busy. So we'll verify that and get that, get the funds approved, get a little meeting for the funds.
Yeah, okay, because we need to get this posted too on our website, all that wonderful stuff. Okay. Thank you, Michael, for reminding us of that. So
thank you, Michael.
Thank you. All right. Anything else, Karen?
No, that's it.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right, Michael, it's your turn. Public safety.
We have a meeting tomorrow night. We're just going to talk about the fact that the city council is actually taking action on the street racing exhibition motions. We're going to bring a motion to address the lack of enforcement of open flame restrictions in O'Melveny Park and B Canyon Park. And apparently somebody has stolen half the signs. So we're going to ask for $1,500, up to $1,500 to replace the signs. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Greenwald?
And that meeting's at 6 o'clock, by the way.
All right, I see none. Okay, moving on. West Valley Neighborhood Alliance Representative Report. Graham, is there anything there?
There is not. I've been trying to get a hold of them and have them update their website with the correct information and the calendar of events. And for some reason, our calendar gets updated, well, at least this last month after the event. But I did get a hold of the agenda that happened, and I know when the next meeting is. So I'll email, the board or Aaron to put that on the schedule, but hopefully they can, get it a little bit more together there. But there is no update for that for now. Just to let you guys know the technical side of what's going on. But that's that.
Great. Thank you, Graham. Thank you.
No.
Brian, small business? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. And Ralph is not present for faith-based. And Sitlali is not present either. Okay. So let's get to item P, board member announcements. I'll just go around and call your name. So let's start with Alvin.
Yeah, actually, just one quick piece of useful information that I learned on the job is, so in the past, it's kind of interesting because I've shared information about Diggler. So I have to, on one of my projects, I have to work with this private contractor for additional public utility findings on private property because Diggler does not fully cover private property for anything that you're looking for underground. So in addition to calling Diggler, it's also highly recommended to hire a private utilities finder contractor. So just thought I'd share that.
Thank you, sir. Robert.
So I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for another great meeting.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's move on to Mr. Lester, Jason Lester.
No real announcements. Tomorrow I've got to attend a funeral for a family friend I've known my whole life. He was in his mid-60s, so just a reminder to keep your focus on what's important in life, and you never know, when things can take a turn and your family has to say goodbye to you. So it's a very sad situation. Very close family friend, is my dad's best friend growing up, and he made my wife's wedding ring. And that was, just wanted to give something out of that, just a reminder for everybody to, like I said, just stay focused on what's important in life and not focus on the little things that aren't going to matter in the end. That was it. And good to see everybody
Jason.
again.
Thank you, Jason. Sorry for your loss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathan?
Yeah, no comment.
No comment. Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Kazi Rahim. Rahim? Okay, let's move on to Thomas Hartfield.
No comments from Rahim.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oscar. Nothing else to add. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Michael Greenwald, Mr. Greenwald.
Nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. Oh, nothing to add. I thought you said nothing bad for a minute. Okay.
Either one. Take your pick. Put them both in.
Sid.
I think I've said enough.
Okay, thank you, sir. Graham.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was great to see a lot of you in person and meet you and speak with you at the street fair. It was a great time. Brought my wife and we had a great time as well. So it was excellent to meet everyone in person, and hopefully we can do that again sometime soon. It was a great meeting, and thanks so much for having me again.
Thank you, sir. Chris.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I want to reiterate the words on the street fair. You know, although I've been around for 4 years, it was the first time I actually was able to go. Saw a lot of people I know. Karen, thank you for saying hi. I brought my dog with me, and it is an extremely dog-friendly event. So I'd encourage people to go next year if you've never been, or if you haven't been in a while, go. It was a really cool event. It really was neat all the way around, and had a great time, and our booth was awesome. And so I commend those who were able to volunteer. It was a last minute decision for me. I was actually working and said, okay, might as well, I'm here, so I'll go. And I did not regret it one bit. And also, you know, I kind of mentioned, Oscar, at the beginning of things, I won't be able to attend the meeting in December. I'm actually traveling for business starting on Sunday, so I can't participate in the parade. And I know it sounds corny, but I used to do parades a lot in garbage trucks, in roll-off boxes in the back, and they're always tons of fun for the holiday parade. So if you've never done a holiday parade individually, I encourage you to take Karen up on her offer and get to ride in a pretty cool slick. It sounds like Galpin Ford is just giving away free cars for the day, so might as well take a ride in one, right? And I encourage you to do that. So, and so since I won't be at the December meeting, I just want to say, everybody, have a safe, happy holidays. Enjoy yourselves. We have a lot to be thankful for as a council. We've done a lot of great work over the last year in very tough conditions, and we've had some very tough debates here too. And I want to say I respect everybody's opinion on the council, and I think we're getting better at listening to each other and taking those things into consideration as we make decisions for the community. And I say that as somebody who's not in the community but cares about the community, considering I run a business that impacts the community. And you're all doing a great job. Keep it up. And let's all continue to get better as the new year comes along. So sorry for the premature holiday wishes and New Year wishes, but I wanted to be able to say something, and thank you so much for everything. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Oscar.
No, thank you. Thank you for everything. Before I get to the next one, Michael, did you raise your hand? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell Chris that get Galpin to give us a GT40 and I'll ride in it with you.
It'll have to be next year. And I'd rather have a Ford Raptor. You know, one
Yes.
of those $120,000 things that.
Wait a minute, the GT40s are over $1 million right now.
Okay, well then, okay, you trumped me. You win.
All right, thank you. Alfredo.
You call me.
To think that the GT40 only seats one, so I guess you're gonna need like 10 of us. Then I'll go. I'll definitely go to the parade if we get the GT40. No announcements, guys. Just happy Thanksgiving. You guys don't eat too much turkey because the car may not be able to handle the weight on the 5th. So just eat enough for yourself, not for everybody. Thank you, guys.
That's
Happy
why
Thanksgiving.
Greenwall invited me, is so he could leave me behind.
Thank you, Alfredo. Brian.
Don't eat too much turkey because the turkey is really expensive this year. It's the most expensive turkey dinner that we've ever had. Okay, I do have an announcement. This is a letter from the IRS. The Environmental Health Research, Inc. is now a certified 501c3.
Oh,
We
yeah.
are moving forward.
Congratulations,
So,
Brian.
Congratulations. Great.
I'm not one, anybody that knows me, really knows me, knows that I don't give out congratulations and accolades very often or very much at all. But I have to tell you, this council, and I go to a lot of councils. I really get around the city when it comes to this, even when they were in person. And I hear a lot of things, councils congratulate each other and telling each other how great they are and how great the councils are, blah, 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 blah. I hear it a lot. I try not to do that because I think it's a little self-serving. But I will say that this council, over the last year or so, has really stepped up to the table to follow the protocols that we've been asked to follow, which is code of conduct, has been exemplary. Yeah, we don't all agree with each other. Whether we like or dislike each other, we don't show it. And I think we do function quite well together. And if we had everything going along nice and smooth and we agree on everything, I wouldn't say a word. But we do have disagreements and we have different opinions, but we come together and we make decisions, I think, that are appropriate. And I appreciate being on this council with all the people on it. So the council is doing a good job, and I'm very proud of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, Karen.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Great. Just loved everything he said. And I want to say my comment is about SoFi Stadium. If you plan on attending any concert, football game, Rams, Chargers, or any kind of event at SoFi Stadium, going from here, do not park at the stadium under any circumstances. We're season ticket holders, and the best way to go is to drive to a lot at Aviation and La Cienega. You park there for $3 instead of $100, and you take the there's a train that it makes only one stop. The next stop is the SoFi Stadium stop. You go up and there are buses lined up one after the other to take you into the stadium. It is probably the best part of that now, is not the stress of trying to deal with the parking at the stadium. It's horrible. So it's a beautiful stadium. And I would suggest eating before you go, because the food actually isn't that great, although the stadium cost $5.5 billion to build. So other than that, that's it. Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Jason, I'm so sorry for your loss. And Point is very, very important, for all of us to remember. So thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, Karen, thank you. And for me, lastly, so I just want to again reiterate what's been reiterated, specifically with the street fair. I was a bit concerned as we were approaching the day that we wouldn't have enough representation. Thank you, everyone who stepped up to the plate. It is a great event. I know hopefully everyone got something good out of it, and it's a great way to network and also, just engage with everybody else in the community, all the other leaders in the community. So again, thank you. Just want to let you know that I did email Sid. I emailed you the contact number for Miguel. I just forwarded that to you, so hopefully you got it. And I did email everybody just now the latest committee roster. So I've updated to reflect Mr. Moore as chair and Brian as vice chair. So that's all been updated. So you have that. Keep that handy because that does have all of our contact information. But with that, thank you again. Great meeting. I love the exchange. And to Brian's point, we are a great board here. Love that we can have our differences and, and move forward and be a great team. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. With that said, I guess I will adjourn this meeting. Look at that, 9:03.
Woohoo!
Karen, are you serious? Is it $100 to park at the stadium?
Yeah,
Some places it's more, but it's $100. So
I don't need to go to that stadium. Not for $100.
Hey, Oscar, great job.